Welcome back, everybody. It is Braxton Taylor here at Jedi Eternal as one of your co-hosts, and we're here with Andrew Bolin, the iPad Eviscerator.
The iPad Eviscerator.
The iPad Eviscerator. Well, so I know a man just got an iPad and he had to get it replaced.
Well, hold on a second. Just got an iPad?
Yeah.
I've had that iPad for like
a couple months.
No, it's been almost like a year, I think.
I don't know about that.
I think we're getting close to a year.
I don't know. Time's a blur anymore, so who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, it just had a couple of like. I just turned it on one day, and all of a sudden, like, there's like a couple of dead pixels, and I'm like, what in the world?
I'm thinking Sage maybe got a hold of it. You know.
No, she would never do that. She's a perfect angel.
Well, if you
But
say
no,
so.
so what I don't know what happened to it, but what I do know, it wasn't my fault.
I hope
So-
so. I hope so.
I contacted Apple. They agreed with me, and they sent me a new one.
Wow. Well, hey,
For
at least you got a new one.
So yeah, all
Congratulations.
is good. All is good.
All is well with the world.
Yeah. If only that were true.
Well, not the world, but with his iPad.
I was like, wow, what a time to say that.
Why? I'm not saying why. We're not talking about that.
We're not talking about that. Not on the Star Wars podcast.
So, anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us. We're kind of coming back after a little bit of a week hiatus, and just kind of as several weeks in a row now that we've had the podcast, kind of going away from our typical schedule where we go back and forth because anytime we have like a big release like a Boba Fett or Mandalorian or whatever, we kind of like to take it and review each week and keep up with everybody. But with that said, we're kind of going back to our old schedule now until something else comes up. But we just want to thank you guys for kind of bearing with us for our week hiatus. We're back now, and we're hoping you guys are excited as we are. And before we move on to our main news, we do want to go ahead and plug it like usual. We do have a Patreon. I'm sure most of you are aware, but those of you who may not be, we do have a Patreon, and it is only $5 a month. And what you get with that Patreon subscription is that you get a early access to anything and everything that we create. So whether that be episodes of the podcast, episodes of Let's Plays, whatever it may be, you get early access to those things. Furthermore, you do get exclusive access to our new show and other stuff with a new episode that's going to be coming out very soon. And last but not least, if you become a Patreon for only $5 a month, you get to become a producer of our podcast and over our show of and other stuff. And you guys get to help us dictate where the show goes. So if that sounds enticing to you,
deal.
What a deal for only $5.99. No, if that entices you at all, we would love to have you. It does help us, of course, as getting a little bit of money in so we can buy new equipment, do things like that. And but anyway, we do like to go ahead and shout out our Patreon producers and subscribers every episode. So Drew, let us know who's here.
Yes, so our Patreon producers for the month is Joshin Birkinshaw.
Oh yeah.
Tara Bolin.
Oh yeah.
Grace and David Gill.
Oh yeah.
Alex Mason.
Oh yeah.
Corey Wise.
Oh yeah.
And Jay Camdar.
Yes, we got a new one this month. Jay, we are very excited to have you. Thank you so much for your literal and figurative patronage.
Yes, Jay is our newest subscriber, and we are very excited to have him join us. And also, we want to take this time to mention as well that due to the Book of Boba Fett now being over, a couple things are going to change. We're not going to be doing the regular podcast episodes weekly. We're going to start doing them every other week again, as we typically do now when there is no new Star Wars series at the current time. That being said, though, that does not mean a lack of content.
Right.
Every other week, we will be going back to our Let's Plays.
Right.
We were in the middle of doing KOTOR, and we encourage you guys to join us on the journey. If nothing else, to listen to us make fun of each other. It's inspiring for many.
Very inspirational. And we do have a big game coming up.
Yes.
Which is Lego Star Wars, what do you call it? The Skywalker
Skywalker Saga.
Yeah, okay. I can't remember if that was the old one. Anyway, no, that was a complete saga.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah.
but yeah, that's coming up, and we're obviously going to be playing that, and that's going to be just a rip-roaring good time. So we're super excited that. But anyway, like Drew was saying, just please know that as we go back to our old schedule, please know that we're not abandoning anybody, right? We're not, trying to have a lack of content. We're just going to be filling in with other things.
Yes, and also next week should be our next episode of And Other Stuff. That is the current schedule. So now would be a great time to go ahead and subscribe as a Patreon, because here soon, not only do you have 2 episodes you can listen to now, but you're about to get a third in about a week. So
and
it's a good time
just
to
a
jump
little
on board.
sneak peek. We're not going to tell you what we're talking about necessarily, but we'll give you the topic if it interests anybody. We have already talked about Marvel and the Marvel MCU and all that stuff. So if you're interested in that, we have an episode about that.
Right.
And our next one is about Lord of the Rings and the Middle Earth series and stuff like that. So we're going to be talking about that if it interests you. But we also, that's our main topic stuff.
And we'll be going over the new trailer. I think we're going to
Yes.
kind of go frame by frame on that and discuss that trailer.
Yes.
And see what we can get from it. So.
And like I said, we always have other things. It's just a conversation. We're having fun. It's and other stuff. So it can be anything, but that is kind of our main topic. But like I said, hopefully that interests you. And if it does, we would love to have you. And hey, maybe next episode we could shout you out. So, with all of that being said, we're glad for you guys to be here. Thank you for all your support. But we're going to go ahead and get into our main show here that you're all here for, hopefully. So, let's go ahead and get into our news. So, this week, we do have 4 news pieces for you. And first and foremost, we do have an announcement of a new Star Wars novel titled The Princess and the Scoundrel. In fact, actually, the other day, I got an email for it, and it was just so very ceremonious. I had, it was like a wedding invitation email from Star Wars, and it said, you're cordially invited to this, blah, 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 and RSVP. Anyway, but it opens up to the book. Very anticlimactic after that. But no. So anyway, but it is called The Princess and the Scoundrel. Obviously, I'm sure we can surmise who that's about. But Drew, go ahead and let us know who it's about and what it's about.
Yeah, so The Princess and the Scoundrel is going to be about Han and Leia.
What?
And it is basically it's a love story. And it's going to be about their engagement and wedding. And so that is not something new to the Star Wars universe. There actually was already a book about the wedding of Han and Leia, interestingly enough, in Legends. So here we're seeing the new take on that. I guess my big question here is, why this?
Right.
Not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with it by any means. It's just it's interesting that they're choosing to do this now, and it makes you wonder if there's any reason for it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Which I actually have a theory on what that reasoning is.
Okay.
And so what I'll tell you is that they depart the ceremony on Endor for their honeymoon. So they go straight into a honeymoon from Endor. And they find themselves on the Halcyon, or however you say is that how I don't even know how you pronounce it. I think so.
Yeah, I don't know.
The new ship though that they're using in a lot of different ways in canon right now to essentially advertise the new hotel that will be in Disney World.
Yeah.
Or Disneyland. I don't know. I don't remember which place it's coming to first. I don't know. Anyways,
it's probably coming to both.
The hotel.
Anyway.
I assume it's going to come to both. I just don't know which one's already about to be ready. I don't think it's going to be.
I think it's
both.
World.
So
I don't know.
But anyways, they're about to release this Star Wars hotel. It is a in canon ship that they're utilizing in a lot of different ways. They're actually having a comic book series that's going to have different events happen there, like different timelines and stuff. And now also we're having this book that is also taking place on that ship. And so I think they wanted to have a novel about the ship, and they said, what's the best story we could tell?
Right.
And they thought, we could, it sounds like a good place for a wedding, and they came to this conclusion.
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
The origins of Kylo Ren.
I know there will be some...
What?
Close your ears, children.
What are you talking about?
I do think that there will be a lot of Legends people upset about this because they're gonna feel like there was no reason to mess with what was already established.
Well, I mean, but that's been the case for a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
so.
but it's just I think this may be the first time that we literally though have a book that's like, this book's already been done and we're just completely redoing it. Like I can't think of anything at the moment that's that much of a
Sometimes it's like a retelling, or it's like a spin, like, you know what I'm saying, not spin off, but you know what I'm saying.
What is wrong with my dog?
She is going insane. She got into
He will not leave me alone.
But anyway, so I think like you're right. I mean, there's been times where like they took stuff from other books and or stories, but this one, like you said, this is a straight port over almost. You know?
Yeah, and it's. I think what's most interesting about getting this story is that we know the outcome of this
everything, right? Yeah, exactly.
Right?
They get divorced eventually.
Well, they I don't know if it's like officially ever divorced, but they do separate.
Yeah.
And Han goes back to his
scoundrel ways. You know?
Leia continues in her purpose, and as we know, they don't really spend a whole lot of time together, other than on occasion, and then Han dies. So
and surprise, he dies.
So it's interesting because, and this is maybe a conversation for another time, but I do want to just kind of like throw this out there, and then we can maybe discuss it in future episodes if anyone's interested. But it does make you wonder if the so-called love story of Han and Leia isn't really truly a love story, or if there really ever was love there, as much as it ended up just being like a spur of the moment romantic relationship that ends up not actually being as compatible as they thought they were.
Yeah,
and that's something like you could dive into in some other time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's move on. Oh, did I give a date for that?
No,
I did not. Let me hold on a second. I want to say it's in August, but I was gonna say I don't want to say that until I know for sure, but I just said it.
And then you just said it. Now everybody's confused.
I'll tell you in just a second.
Crumbling at our feet.
My apologies. It is August 16th is the date for that. So listen, I'm always up for more Star Wars novels.
Sure.
Give me all of them. This is actually, I also don't believe I said this. My apologies again. The author is Beth Revis, which she has written a Star Wars book before. She wrote one of the, I think she wrote one of the young adult novels, if I remember correctly. Actually, I think it was about Galaxy's Edge, interestingly enough, if I remember correctly. So that's interesting. They're kind of keeping her in that
tying into that,
tying into the park stuff. So that's interesting. So anyways, moving forward though, our second news story of the day is that the Old Republic Legacy of the Sith has officially launched. And they also unveiled a new CGI trailer. Did you watch the trailer?
Actually, I don't think I have.
Really?
Yeah.
As always, I would recommend these CGI trailers to any Star Wars fan. All of the Old Republic CGI trailers are very cool. And every time I watch one of them, I automatically just think like, man, I wish they would
just make a show.
I wish they would let these guys make a show. Because they have it down. Like, sure, we're not seeing like a ton of story necessarily, and we're doing more like, oh, it's like raining really hard all of a sudden.
Yeah,
I can hear it like picking up through the mic.
I lied. I did see it. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
I thought you meant there's a new one after that. Okay.
No.
Anyway,
This is the one
came out 9 days ago.
Well, yes, because we took a week off, so some of this stuff may be a little behind, but
yes, I watched it. It was phenomenal, like usual.
Yeah, so Darth Malgus is back. For any of those of you who have followed the Old Republic, that's very interesting to me.
Yeah.
I played through the initial campaign of the Old Republic, where at the end you do defeat Darth Malgus. So it's interesting that Darth Malgus is back, but not necessarily a surprise, as we know they love to bring Sith Lords back.
Well, yeah, naturally.
So
he's back somehow.
Yeah, somehow. Yeah. So, but anyways. I love the Old Republic. This is really cool. If anyone is playing it. Let us know your thoughts on the expansion. I would love to hear what you guys think of it. And I do plan to eventually play it. I think I said this maybe on our last episode, but it's kind of hard right now to play it because I don't really have the right equipment to do so. There are ways of me playing it, but like none of them are like super great ways of doing it. But I do fully intend to completely play through all of the expansions that the Republic has and eventually get to Legacy of the Sith.
Yeah.
And maybe that's something that we can even do some live streaming of eventually if we get to a point where we can
That'd be
do
cool.
that. So.
Maybe you guys could just, like donate 2 gaming PCs to us. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool. I'm just...
You find it on your heart, yeah.
yeah. So anyway, like I said, that'll be pretty cool for those of you who are able to play it right now. But let's go ahead and move on to our third news piece for the week. And that is an amazing, amazing thing that Drew and I were very excited about. And that is John Williams, the infamous man himself, returns to Star Wars to compose the Obi-Wan Kenobi theme for the new Kenobi series. And that just floors me in a good way. Like, I'm so excited for this. Obviously, the Kenobi series within itself has just, excited Andrew and I very much. It's one of the biggest things we've been waiting for a long time in Star Wars. But just to know that John Williams is coming up, the OG, composer is coming back for this. I mean, it is the cherry on top of the beautiful, bodacious sundae. So I'm excited for this. And Drew, what do you think? I mean, I think we're probably on the same wavelength here. So. Can you finish that text up real quick?
My apologies. I had to do so. No,
right.
This is incredibly important to me. I think it comes kind of as a shock.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I'm like, oh wait, this makes total sense.
Yeah.
With the series that we've had so far with Disney Plus, they've branched out. They've gotten new people on board to do music and stuff for it.
Right.
And Ludwig, or not Ludwig, whatever his name is, or is it Ludwig?
Ludwig Göransson.
That is his name.
Ludwig Göransson.
Anyways, he's that was. Never mind. Never mind.
Okay.
Never mind. Forget.
Hey, I don't know what you're gonna say.
Just forget it. So, anyways, he's been fantastic.
Oh, it's been great.
And The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, really, really great. And I know we're gonna have some other new people doing music for Star Wars here very soon.
Yeah.
And we'll see how that goes. But for Kenobi, I think it just makes sense to have John Williams return.
Well, exactly. I was just going to say real quick. I mean, what Jude already said is what I was going to say, is that here's the thing. Ludwig Göransson has come in and he's made something very different, which it was awesome, but it was different because it's a new, different character and a new, different story type. But something like Kenobi that we already know, like you said, it just makes sense.
Kenobi is a very established character within the I guess what we call now the Skywalker saga.
Sure.
And so it makes sense for us to have that familiarity. And that's the thing. While I'm looking forward to a lot of new stuff, I do think this is going to very much feel, at least I hope, it feels like it's attached to the Skywalker saga. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's like, yes, we are experiencing something new within Kenobi, but it's gonna grow and expand what we already know of the Skywalker saga,
right?
And as we assume that we're probably gonna see Luke in this, we're probably gonna see Leia in this, we're gonna see Anakin, Darth Vader.
This is as close as you're going to get to the Skywalker saga
without being the Skywalker saga.
Yeah,
exactly. That's a really good way to put it. And so, so it makes sense. I'm all for this, though. I will say, notice what we've read so far of this, and let's make this clear. As far as I'm aware, they've not officially announced this, but it is very confirmed sources that are saying this.
Yeah.
So we trust this. That's why we've decided to put it in news, because it's all but confirmed.
Other than literally Kathleen herself saying it.
Right. And so, but what's interesting is it specifically says the theme
Yeah.
for Obi-Wan Kenobi. So with that being said, I don't know if John Williams is doing the entire series or if he has only created the theme.
That's a good point. And yeah, like you said, now that you mention it, it is true that like I've seen that same thing is like it's reoccurring the theme. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, my hope and desire is that he's over the whole thing, but you know, it is very plausible that someone like John Williams. Yes.
Sorry, I have to cut you off. This is important.
Hurtful.
This show, when we get the moment of the show, which is going to be the face-off of Anakin and Obi-Wan, okay?
Yeah.
When we get that, it better play Duel of the Fates.
Oh, yeah.
We better finally get it back.
Yeah.
Because we you know, that was a request that we had for a long time with Rise of Skywalker, that we thought they should bring that in, all this stuff. And you know what? Now looking back, I'm glad they didn't. I actually don't.
Right.
I'm glad they didn't do that.
Because that's something very sacred to Star Wars. You know, it's one of the best scores.
But now with this, what a perfect time.
There's no better place to put this.
There's no better place. And can you imagine all of a sudden it just hits that like beginning part? I'm not gonna try to do it. I'm
not gonna
sound like a dying whale.
It's like I might have to change my pants. You know, I might have to use the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just gonna be sitting there. My legs will give out. I'll drop to my knees, start crying.
Dude, I'm serious. Like everything we've seen in Star Wars since we've started this podcast. Has been exciting, has been great. We've loved it. But nothing has reached the hype and excitement we are going to have for this Kenobi series. So our listeners, you better just prepare for this because we're gonna be over the top about it.
Insane.
We're gonna be like little schoolgirls. And we're probably
more than usual.
And we're probably going to have like incredibly long episodes during that time. Yeah. So just be ready for it.
That's 90% sure. Yeah.
And guess what? The best part? We're only a couple months away.
Yeah, boy.
We're only a couple months away.
It's just crazy because I remember hearing it for the first time and it was like years away, you know, or maybe like 2 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like years away. And then now here we are, a couple months.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I think the Kenobi rumors really started around the time when we started the podcast. Is around... But really, a lot of the stuff we're experiencing, it all kind of started. It birthed out of of Rise of Skywalker being over, and then the Disney Plus stuff starting to be established. Like that's kind of when we started the podcast. So.
Exactly. Yeah.
So anyway, interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So our last news story, I'm actually really excited for this, and it's a new visual guide that's going to be coming out, and DK usually publishes different visual guides. There have been a lot of interesting ones, but this one in particular really intrigues me, and it's called Star Wars Timelines. Now, what this does is it breaks down the in-universe history of Star Wars into a stunning visual guide that spans from, now this is very interesting, spans from the time before the High Republic, I want to mention that.
Interesting.
To the fall of the First Order, encompassing the Skywalker saga films, live-action series, animation, books, comics, games, and more.
Dude, that's
all
sick.
In one book.
Yeah.
Setting the official timeline for Star Wars.
Wow.
So I want to say we have a timeline, okay? And I think I've said this many times before in the podcast, but I'll say it again in case you haven't listened to all of them or whatever. I keep a timeline of Star Wars for myself. Like I write it all down. I know that sounds so incredibly nerdy.
It's so rough,
it's
bro.
So nerdy. But like I always I write it everything like when I finish something new Star Wars, I log it into my timeline and so some of that is me making my own decisions on that.
Yeah.
Some of it's me looking through what other super fans have established, or sometimes even Star Wars themselves kind of places it, but they don't usually do it like super. They're not like super detailed on like the year it's in, etc.
Right.
Usually.
Yeah.
Not like Legends was. So this is really exciting to me because I think it will be the definitive timeline at least for a while until then of course new stuff comes out and it won't be in there.
Yeah,
But at least for
new
what
one.
we have, it will be the definitive timeline. We can look at this and make sure that what us as fans have logged into as our timeline, we might have to adjust a little bit after this comes out, and we'll have to see. But I think it could be really cool. And so I will be getting this, and I'm sure we will discuss it on the podcast when it comes out. And one of the things I wanted to again point out with this that I think is really interesting is that it does specifically say that it's from the time before the High Republic.
Yeah.
I think that's very interesting. It may mean nothing at all, but it might mean something.
It might mean something. Well, and I was going to say, too, one thing that we can think of that is canonically happening is that in the second phase of High Republic, we do know that we're going back in time 250 years, even before the 250 years that we went back to. You know what I'm saying? So maybe they're encompassing that. Or, like you said, maybe it's even deeper and we're going into the Old Republic territory that they're going to recanonize. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. I mean, those are two strong scenarios. One, maybe that's slightly more, not applicable, but more likely than the other. But either way, I mean, I think it's really going to be cool that we get some more ancient timelines and confirmation lined out for us. So I'm excited, and like I said, I usually don't really buy the visual guides as much as you do and stuff like that, but this is certainly one I'll be getting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll just be a really great resource to have.
Oh yeah,
and just to be able to visualize everything could be really cool. I'm curious how the layout of that will be. And I guess only time will tell, but it should be cool.
Yeah, excited for it. So yeah, let's go ahead into our rumors for the week. And that first rumor is Jon Watts has been rumored to direct a mystery Star Wars series. So Drew, what do you have on that? Because I don't have much on it.
So Jon Watts is, for those of you who don't know, he is the director for Spider-Man No Way Home, as well as I believe the other Spider-Man movies that have came out for the MCU. So that is intriguing. And what they're saying is they believe that he is going to be a part of this new High Republic era show that we have been talking about lately.
Yeah.
It's all but happening, okay, at this point. We're seeing so many rumors about this.
Right.
Like, it's totally a thing. We just don't really understand all the pieces yet.
Exactly.
But, they've been treating this project as Stranger Things in space is what the thing has been.
Yeah.
So... yeah, can you sorry, can you take Sage out? She will not quit bothering me.
Why are you so obsessed with me?
I don't know what she wants, but okay, thank you. So so I think that this could be a good choice based off what we know of Jon Watts doing a lot of like high school type characters with Spider-Man. Stuff like that. He's been a phenomenal director, in my opinion, based off what we've seen out of the Spider-Man movies. So I think that this could be a really good pick. And there's also been some more rumors that have came out for this High Republic era show. Some are wondering if maybe this is Tales of the Jedi, as we discussed, I believe, last episode. That we thought this might be that title, Tales of the Jedi, that we have seen before.
Right.
But there's also been talk of some of the casting, which is younger. They've given some fake names. Of course, castings usually don't actually use the real names of the characters.
Right.
But I think what one of the most interesting rumors that I've heard, and one I think we may have discussed a little bit, is that this potentially is a show that its main cast will be Avar and Elzar and Stellan.
Yeah, that was my little theory last time.
Yeah, the trio there that we get as adults, but it's often talked about how they were very close and went on a lot of different adventures and stuff together as children.
That would be very intriguing to see.
So there's a history there that we don't see. And we know that this next phase of the High Republic is going too far back to cover that.
Sure.
So this show could be a way to give us that history.
Kind of bridge the gap between the distances.
Also introduce some new characters, but
right.
but also have those characters that we're already familiar with, and give the High Republic fans a very good reason to go watch this series.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of possibilities there. Again, this is still just a rumor anyway, so we really don't know. But those are some very interesting and likely avenues they could go, and excited to see where they go with it.
Absolutely. So let's go to our next rumor, and our next rumor here is that Ian McDiarmid indicates Palpatine could return in stories set before the Rise of Skywalker. So when he was in an interview with Metro, and this is what he had to say. I think I have to accept that, thanks to my ungrateful granddaughter, my annihilation was finally final. But of course, Vader is back in the new television series, so I suppose it's not impossible that one day his mentor might be discovered once again skulking in the shadows.
What a skulker.
What a skulker.
He be skulking. So,
I have to agree with Ian here.
Sure.
That I think there is absolutely a lot of opportunity to bring him back as Palpatine. Well, and there's a lot of different ways he could be brought back.
Yeah.
He could be brought back in
Somehow.
the Bad Batch as yeah.
I'll never let that opportunity go to say that.
Hey, just in case for you Legends fans out there, I just want to remind you all, and you Disney haters, I just want to remind all of you that Palpatine's return was announced first before anything else on Fortnite. So, just in case you need another reason to hate the Disney era, I just wanted to remind you that his return was first announced in the popular hit video game Fortnite.
Palpatine cranking 90s.
So, anyway, just to fuel the fire there.
Don't get me started.
I could see him as voiced in the Bad Batch at some point, like he has been in Rebels. I think they brought him back for Rebels. He wasn't in Clone Wars, but I think in Rebels they did bring him back.
Yeah,
I think that's how it went. And then also, we have this Kenobi series. It would make sense to see maybe a short little cameo of him. I don't think we need him very much in this series, but it would make sense for him to have some kind of conversation with Vader that we see.
Sure,
right?
even through a hologram or something.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So that could very well be the case. Or it's not impossible that we wouldn't see him in Andor. Or let's go even crazier here. But what's to say we don't see him in any of this future stuff that's happening with the Mandalorian in that era? Because he's actually still there. He's alive.
That is a good point.
If we follow canon, he's currently going through like different bodies, just trying to find one that can hold him, essentially hold his Sith power.
Yeah.
And so what's to say we don't see something like that before the events of Rise of Skywalker?
And we know that he can't really be seen in a large capacity where a lot of people know him or see him and stuff like that, because it comes as a great surprise when he's officially re-announced.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. But we do know there are still stories to be told.
Sure.
Such as Rey's family and the decision for Palpatine to decide to let Rey's clone father survive, right? That's a story that eventually will have to be told.
Like why?
Somewhere.
Why would he ever do that?
Well, they say it's because he had a lineage. Essentially, he decided to keep him so he would have a lineage. But there's still. I think there could be a more story there to be told, and we've not had that story told. So I think that's a great opportunity that we will probably see in some form, but it may not be in live action. But
sure, yeah. So anyway, there is plenty of opportunity there, but I guess we're just going to have to wait and see if anything actually comes into fruition. So, all right, our last rumor for the week is that Star Wars reveals a possible new promo image for the Kenobi series. We've seen a lot of things come out recently. One of the big popular ones is we've seen Kenobi walking through the desert sands and things of that nature. But there is a possible new promo image for the Kenobi series. So, Drew, what do they mean by possible?
So why this is a possible thing is it shows it's actually new lightsabers that are going to be released, and on that it shows Darth Vader. And then it shows Obi-Wan Kenobi, which this is absolutely a new image of Obi-Wan Kenobi, but it is an animated Obi-Wan Kenobi. It is not a live action picture of Obi-Wan, but animated. But it very much does look like it could be kind of based off this new Kenobi series for his appearance.
Yeah.
And I think that would make a lot of sense, and I'm expecting that we're going to start seeing a lot of Kenobi merch to come.
Yeah.
And that's not good for my wallet. That's very bad for my wallet because I am known to buy anything Kenobi that I see.
Yeah.
And so far in my life, the Kenobi merch has been fairly slim, honestly. Like,
yeah, you're right.
Kenobi's not a character that you see a lot of stuff for. You usually see, Darth Vader, Boba Fett, Yoda, like the ones that are very visually, like, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Where like Obi-Wan, he's a little less. I mean, he's got the robes. He's got a fantastic hair and beard, but
naturally,
that's besides the point. But I think that with the series, they're gonna want to have some new merch. There's gonna be new Funko Pops. There's gonna be a new Black Series figures. There's gonna be the cups and the. I'm just trying to think of the random stuff, but
I'll be buying all of it.
Things.
I'm gonna buy.
I'm going to buy all of it. Like, I'm not even kidding. I'm going to buy it all.
I mean, I'm literally not joking. Like, I'm scared.
Braxton's
honestly,
laughing. I am not laughing. I am dead serious.
I'm genuinely afraid. I'm gonna buy it all. Please, someone help me.
I don't know how not to buy it. So no, exactly. I will be buying every Funko Pop version of Kenobi that comes out with this series.
Yeah.
That's already a guarantee.
Naturally.
I'll probably buy a couple T-shirts that are based off the Kenobi series.
Naturally. Yeah.
I will. That might be where I draw the line.
Yeah.
Well, no, I take that back. I will definitely buy some kind of statue that somebody makes. I will buy it.
That would be sick. Yeah.
From there, I might draw the line. I don't need I've never been a fan of the Black Series like toys, and the reason for that is because they're truly like a toy, and I just don't really have any use for that. I like the Pops because they're very much made to sit on your desk and look cool.
Right.
So I will definitely be buying those.
I would be more into the Black Series stuff, but they're just so expensive and they're not that great a quality.
So I would be more into it if they had a way to kind of like to use them more as like a statue, or use them more like a something that you are just as a decorative piece.
Yeah.
Instead of where usually they're like in the cardboard box and you take them out and they don't have a base or anything.
Right.
Just like, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And I don't like putting them up in a box because I think that just looks kind of. No offense to anyone who does like to do that.
Ooh.
I think it looks a little trashy.
Wow, that's
you know what I mean though. Like when you just got a bunch of boxes, like it just kind of gets a little.
It's collectibles.
Well, I get that. I understand why they do it, but I don't think it looks good.
Okay, well, you just hurt all of our listeners' feelings, but.
I mean, I have lots of Pops, but I typically take them out. I do have a couple over there that I have not taken out of the box yet. But
that's a little trashy.
I'm thinking about taking them out, but putting up the boxes somewhere so that I can then put them back in the box if I ever choose to do so.
That's not a bad idea.
But the problem is, where do you keep the box? There's just a lot of variables to go through.
Point. Moving on.
So I think that was our last rumor.
Yeah.
So we're going to jump into our releases. And we have some stuff coming up here that is exciting. And one of those very exciting things that we have coming up is a new High Republic novel. This is the junior novel, but don't count it out just because of that. It still is very much a part of the story, the plot, that always does have important things. This story in particular will continue the story of Ernestra Rowe, and she has been quite the important character so far throughout the High Republic, specifically in young adult and junior novels. And Ernestra Rowe, if you don't know, she is also the Padawan, or originally was the Padawan of Stellan Gaios.
Yeah.
But she was knighted at a young age because she is so like advanced in her abilities. So she's a very cool character, and so I'm sure this will be an interesting book to read.
You're just so excited.
Yeah, yeah. So that's coming out March 1st. March 2nd, which will be the next day, that Wednesday, we will be getting the final issue of Star Wars: The High Republic comic. And when I say final, I just mean final for Phase 1. But yes, this will be the final one. This will wrap up. Basically, what this is going to do is wrap up what is going on with Avar, as we know what's already happened with our novel crew. We know we're actually still following up with the Adventures comic series, and what they're doing on Starlight Beacon, but we have not figured out exactly the end of Avar and her companion's story with the Starlight Beacon, and that this comic will wrap that up. So expect some big stuff to happen in this comic that releases on Wednesday. Also that same day we get Eye of the Storm issue number 2. This is following what's his name? Markian Rowe. Thank you.
Yep.
It's following his story, some like background stuff on him. The first issue was very much focused on kind of like a prequel, but I have heard, do not read this second issue until you have finished The Fallen Star. So, with that being said, this must have some stuff that follows after the events of The Fallen Star. And so that will be very interesting to read. Also, we get Star Wars issue number 21. This is, I'm sure, going to be good. We're still continuing on the events of the Crimson Dawn being back. This is going to continue that. A lot of interesting stuff going on there. Very, very intrigued to see where that story goes. And what is going on with Kira by the end of all of this. So, again, if you're interested in that, go and pick that up. And we're going to continue on into the next week as well, since we will be doing every other week for our podcast. So for the week following, we have another issue of Halcyon Legacy. This will be the second one. Again, that's kind of following the events going on that happen in this new ship. Yes, it is essentially a
literary marketing scheme.
Yeah, yes. It is a marketing scheme, but that doesn't mean that we can't enjoy it as fans.
Exactly.
Also, we're getting a new comic series out the next day on March 9th as well, and that is Han Solo and Chewbacca issue number 1. So this is going to, I believe, be after Solo, before A New Hope. So some interesting stories could be told there.
Yes.
And so you can make sure to go check that out. And then that same day we'll be getting Crimson Reign issue number 3, which is the main series for what's going on with Kira. Even though all the other series right now are kind of feeding off of that, this is where the next main plot happens for that. So again, lots of comics basically right now. Since now the Book of Boba Fett is over and the High Republic is basically coming to, I mean, it's really basically coming to an end for a while until the fall.
Right.
We're going to see Star Wars being carried primarily by the comic books that will continue on until we get to that May area where we will start to see the Kenobi series.
Yeah. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and move into our community discussion. So obviously our community discussion is where we go out each week for our podcast and we ask you all one question that we can all discuss and we all can have some fun talking about. So our community discussion question for this week was, if you could direct your own Star Wars movie or TV show, what would it be about? We have several answers, so thank you to all those who participated. We always love to hear from you guys. But number one, Brandon Duke says the Old Republic with Darth Bane or Revan. And so, yeah, Brandon, I mean, that would be, I think that's something we all would want. So that would be an awesome show.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a dream of mine is see that Old Republic Sith, Jedi, see that whole thing like that. That would be amazing.
Yeah. So totally would love to see that. And then JB says Qui-Gon Jinn origin story and how he became like he was as a Jedi and how he started to see the Jedi Council failing because of its beliefs. And now I'm gutted because we do not have a Qui-Gon Jinn origin story. JB, I'm totally right there with you. Ironically enough, that is one of the options that I was thinking too. I had two thoughts, and that was certainly one of them. I love Qui-Gon Jinn. And he's such a unique, important character, and especially in the prequel trilogy. And I would totally love to see that.
Yeah, I mean, Qui-Gon is a great character, and we never got enough of him.
Sure.
And I'm hoping they touch on that in this next series we're getting. But it would be cool to get more on Qui-Gon as a youngling, and see him grow and go through. Which we got a little bit of that in the Dooku Jedi Lost. We do see Qui-Gon younger there, but that's like one of the only things we've gotten.
Yeah. So. And that, also I would, we already got a book, which was Master and Apprentice, but I would like to see a Qui-Gon and Padawan Obi-Wan, movie or series. That would be really cool for me as well. So anyway, yeah, absolutely great answer. Alex Mason says the continuation of Luke's story after Return of the Jedi. And Alex, I think everybody would love to see that. See, Luke be brought to justice, and have him being at his prime. Obviously we do have some opportunity to see this more as we see him in Mandalorian stuff.
We're getting some of that. We do have a comic series that touches a little bit on him right after, but there's still a lot of room there to see how what kind of state of mind Luke is in and what drives him to do some of the things that he does. So
yeah, absolutely. So, great answer. And then Corey Allen Y says, I'm going to have to go with the Old Republic and Darth Revan. Sorry, Brandon Dukes, for kind of copying you, LOL. Hey, it's not bad to copy if it's a good answer. So, yeah, I mean, we're absolutely on the same track. And then Stuart Martin comes in with Brandon Dukes and Corey Allen Y saying he would like a story about Revan. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people, like you said, it's a great story we'd all love to see in a movie or a TV show. So, absolutely. Yeah, Jay Kamdar says Yoda in his prime. Yes, I would totally love to see Yoda in his prime, some kind of series or show or something like that. That would be sick.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't really know exactly when his prime is, but we do see. Well, let me phrase that. We do assume that his prime, so to speak, is either during the High Republic or right before the High Republic.
I would say it's before because he's still kind of like an old geezer, and he stands up straighter and stuff. He's not like really struggling to walk or anything, but like he's far from young.
Right.
So I think his prime is sometime still before the High Republic.
Well, like I said, this new Phase 2 is going 250 years before that, so maybe that's his prime.
Yeah, it very well could be.
And maybe he's going to be. It'd be cool. I'm not saying I doubt it. I don't know, but potentially. I'm having a stroke or something. I don't know. Anyway, so no, for real though, maybe it's good potential that we see more of Yoda in Phase 2. So who knows? So Jay, awesome suggestion, and if you're hanging tight with High Republic, then maybe we could see him in Phase 2. So
yeah.
And then our last but not least answer comes from Ethan Stewart. And he says, a Clone Wars live action series. And if I could choose a second one, I'd make it, it would be a movie on General Grievous' origin. So, yeah, both very good answers.
Yeah, I like the idea of seeing some Clone Wars live action, even though technically we've seen it in a sense through the prequels, but I get exactly what he's saying. Seeing more now that we've got the animated series and we have so much history there, it would be cool to see a revisiting of the Clone Wars within live action. I think that could be cool. And I'll tell you, we might be getting that based off of rumors that we know of.
Yeah.
Kenobi, which we've been hearing for a long time.
Yeah.
That there will be flashbacks to the Clone Wars where we will have Obi-Wan and Anakin and even Ahsoka all together in live action.
That would be really cool.
I'm not going to speak to if I believe that or not. I really don't know, but it does sound really cool. I think it could be an amazing opportunity. But only time will tell.
And I've seen that around a lot to a lot of different places suggesting that. So who knows?
And then as far as Grievous goes, Legends did have a kind of a detailed backstory on Grievous, but we've never gotten that in current canon.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean that would be very neat. I don't think they're going to do it, but it would be cool.
Right? Yeah, I think Grievous's limelight has passed, but I mean, again, like so, we know a lot about his past, at least in Legends, like I said, and it's a very interesting story. But it would be totally cool to see some kind of movie or series about it. So for me, like I said, ironically enough, for me, me and JB kind of aligned. Qui-Gon was a big one for me. Seeing some sort of like origins of the Jedi, which we've actually heard rumors about that being the case. Seeing the like origins of the Jedi would be a really cool movie. Also, like I said, and this is kind of like not a cop-out answer, but it's like a obvious one, but seeing something about the High Republic, which we have rumors about, would be amazing. Like I said, we talked about it last week, but I would love to see like some of the big characters like Avar Chris and Elzar and Stellan. I would love to see them like as young Padawans or maybe like teenagers like coming up and learning. Like I think that would be a sweet movie or even series.
It could be, yeah, absolutely.
So if you had any movie or TV series, what would it be?
So my very first pick is already now going to be happening. My very first pick would have been Kenobi. Had you asked me that a couple years ago, I would have said Kenobi in between the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy.
Yeah.
But now we're getting that. So my number one dream is already happening. I just want to make that clear. My next pick, if it would be anything, I think it would be probably the story of Darth Bane. The Legends books of Darth Bane is really fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think that it is just begging to be made into a Disney Plus series.
Yeah.
You start off with a young Bane and he's going through Sith school essentially.
Yeah.
And you see kind of the different relationships there and watch him as he grows into this big Sith Lord that he becomes, and the war against the Jedi and all that. It's prime for multiple seasons of a series,
right?
Telling a very interesting story. And in that you would get Sith, you would get Jedi, and you would see this big war between them, and a lot of cool stuff could happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that would be my number one pick, I think, at this point. But I'll give you just a couple of little free extra stuff there.
Yeah.
And so another one for me, and this is going to sound kind of cop out maybe, but like would be just a completely new trilogy that has no connections to anything. No existing characters, nothing.
Yeah.
I want to see Star Wars do it, and I want to see if they can pull it off. And I think and when I say that, I still like there would still be Jedi. There would still be, but it'd be set in a far different.
I mean, we kind of got that with High Republic, though. You know what I'm saying? To some degree. I mean, when you opened up the first book, Light of the Jedi, you didn't know who any of those people were.
True, though there are a handful of characters we do know that are in it.
Yeah.
There's at least 3 members on the Jedi Council that are still on the Jedi Council.
Being one.
Yeah. Yoda, and then there's another one too. I can't remember what the name is.
Yeah, those two are the only
anyways.
I think of, but yeah.
But yeah, other than that, you're right. And so I guess doing the High Republic is one I would love to see.
Yeah.
And so that maybe that is kind of what I would like. Everything that I want though involves Jedi to some capacity.
Right, naturally.
It does. Like I hear people, I just need something kind of like. Don't get me wrong, I love Rogue One.
Yeah,
the idea was, we need to get away from the Jedi. We need to tell blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, we don't need to get away from the Jedi. You can tell original stories and still have Jedi involved.
Well, okay? I mean, at the end of the day, we're not random character eternal. We're Jedi eternal.
Exactly. And then just to throw one more out there, I would love to see a story that is, I think, yeah, kind of what you said already, but like an origin story for the Jedi.
Yeah.
Like from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Whatever that would be, but like
Yeah.
tell the story of how the Jedi become what they are. Like discovering the Force, discovering the first lightsaber, you know, those kind of things.
Yeah.
And really creating that history there could be such an intriguing thing.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Yeah, I didn't really go into depth on it. But that was what I was explaining or trying to say too. And what would be cool is like, you know, they start discovering the Force and they start meditating on it. And what would be interesting is like clearly at that time they wouldn't have like a lot of technological advances they do in the Star Wars we know now, and that like the Force leads them to a kyber crystal, but they have no clue what to do with it. And it's like they're holding on to a kyber crystal, but maybe they use it as like a jewelry or they infuse it into like some kind of like, you know, sword or axe. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Though.
Well, and as we know, based off lore that we have now, like they most likely the Force was being used before it was called the Force.
Yeah, totally.
And people were using the Force before they called it that, before there were something called Jedi.
Yeah,
etc. All that stuff. So the origins, the realizing of those things may come before the Jedi actually existed. But I would love to see how the Jedi, as what they are, is birthed.
Yeah,
and to
exactly.
see kind of the history of that could be really cool.
Totally.
So those are my picks. They're kind of long, but
yeah, we got some good ideas, you know.
So before we're not gonna do like a super big like main topic today. We are going to discuss kind of what we know is coming next now that the Book of Boba Fett is over.
Yeah.
We want to go over that with you guys just to kind of freshen up on what to expect. But before we do that, I do want to ask you, Braxton, about the High Republic.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you just texted me the other day. You have finished the second adult novel.
I have.
Which is called The Rising Storm.
Mm-hmm.
Give us your thoughts.
Very, very good book.
Yes,
I
agree.
I enjoyed it more than I did Light of the Jedi, and let me preface the fact that I enjoyed Light of the Jedi. Right.
Also same.
Stop. You're hopping me at this point.
My apologies.
No, I was kidding. No, but for real though, like I thoroughly enjoyed Light of the Jedi, and then I read Rising Storm, and I enjoyed it even more. Like there's so much more to it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's more character development. There was more just crazy things that happened in that story. You know, and again,
and the stakes feel pretty high too.
The stakes felt high. At that point, you have already gotten this momentum of knowing the character, starting to form some connections to specific ones, and so I guess that's the thing. You know, if you went back and reread Light of the Jedi, knowing what you know now, which I still have more to go, but you see what I'm saying, hypothetically speaking, after reading all the books, it's like maybe it would mean more. But when you first start with Light of the Jedi, you don't know who these people are. You're trying your best to learn these names and associate them with character types, but you know. So when things happen to those characters or whatever, which not a lot of crazy things happen to specific characters. Anyway, we'll go on. But the point that I'm trying to make is that, you know, it didn't mean as much. But when you get into the second book and you've already been reading about these characters and you're already knowing the names and again, associating them with certain character tropes and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Like when things happen to them, now you're like really tied into it. Like I said, the brevity and the stakes feel higher just because of that. But the storytelling, again, went on to great lengths, and I'm not going to go too far into it, but because I know, you know, maybe some people haven't read it or whatever. But again, I thoroughly enjoyed the book. It was.
I mean, I think you can go into the story a little bit if you wish.
Okay. Yeah.
One of those reasons being, I think we've reviewed it on. We went into some spoiler content within the podcast before. Yeah. It's been a while since it's been out, so I think you're good to talk plot points if you want. If someone doesn't want to hear that, you can skip ahead. But.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously the biggest thing is that basically to their understanding at the beginning of the book, the Nile were kind of like reclusive and they were like pushed back and it was just whatever. So at that point, Lena So, which is the chancellor at the time, was, wanting to continue on what she called her great works. Which, is kind of funny because it mirrors like our real life with Franklin D. Roosevelt and his what did he call his? Basically the same thing. Like he was trying to do good things, and he wanted to like do stuff for society. But it's kind of funny that it mirrors it. Long story short, she wants to have this Republic Fair, and in this Republic Fair, it's going to showcase all the newest technology. It's going to showcase everything that the Galactic Republic has to offer, all the different planets and cultures and all that good stuff to, again, bring unity to the Republic. And one of the biggest things is they're trying to unite the Targruta with them, because at this point in Star Wars history, is the Targruta was separate from the Republic. They were not a part of it. Right. Anyway, so long story short, I'm not going to go through the whole story, but the point I'm trying to make is like this was a big deal, and tons of people are going to be there, but most importantly, like dignitaries and very important people, and they finally get this fair going, and immediately
and the fair was meant to like show their power and show how united they were, and how strong they were, and what they were capable of.
We are the Republic. Yeah. And again, and another big thing, like you said, is that they're trying to almost show off to the Targruta too, like, hey, this is what we have to offer you. We want to be your friends. We want you to become a part of the Republic, and this is what you can take part of.
Right. So
this was a big deal, but all of a sudden, the Nile come through and just massacre. I mean, I was not expecting it to be this crazy, but they just go through and massacre. I mean, they're just doing orbital bombardments and just destroying ships that are trying to flee, and there's so many like sub character plots that I'm just skipping over, but the main story is
they were just like absolutely destroying people.
Insane. So skipping forward a little bit, eventually the Nile actually do kind of start falling apart. Markian Ro is kind of going insane, and he's trying to basically just take over the Nile for himself. And so he's like systematically like taking out all of the Tempest runners that are in there, and we see it happen firstly in Light of the Jedi, and then we see happen again in this book. And so it's kind of falling apart, but he's trying to unify them under himself. But again, skipping towards the end of the story, now he's like, you know what? I'm unleashing this ultimate weapon, and I'm actually still getting into what this even necessarily means, but which is the Leveler, which he found on his home planet. And like I said, I'm very excited to dive into the Fallen Star, because I have no clue what this is, and like no clue what's going on here. But like one of the last scenes was just heart wrenching. I literally was like, I try to read a little bit before I go to bed, and I just ruined my night's sleep because it was like almost 11, and I was like about to go to sleep, and I'm like, Andrew texted, they did not just do this.
I know, when I closed the book, I was like, you've got to be
joking me. Basically, like I said, it's just spoiler, but one of my, like, initially in Light of the Jedi, who I thought was going to be one of my favorite characters, which is Loden Greatstorm, ends up being like AWOL, and the poor guy gets literally stinking tortured for like a book and a half. And he finally, I'm just getting out of the way from the mic because I'm getting loud. He finally escapes, and he finally gets rescued. At the very end, he does. Mark, I don't even know. Like, so I'm going to learn about it.
And also, Bel Zettifar, his Padawan,
was heartbroken.
Suffers through the fact that he thinks he's already like but then he finds out that he's back. He's got hope.
So excited,
and he saves him, right? And he's got him. He's there, and they like embrace or something. I can't remember exactly.
The kiss. No, man. No, they do like, I think they do like hug basically.
There was something,
And then all of a sudden, Markian releases this ungodly whatever it is, some beast, and I don't even know what it does. Like, so I'm about to learn. I'm just foaming at the mouth just thinking about it now. But like, I can't even talk about it. You're like getting my emotions stirred up, bro. He finally gets loaded, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Bel just like goes into Wonderland, like gets knocked out, and then wakes up to this monstrosity of something, this amalgamation of flesh and stone and all this stuff. And it's stinking loaded. It's Loden Greatstorm. And
they turn him into a pillar of salt.
It breaks my heart.
Or it literally ashes or something.
I don't even know what it is, but it broke my heart, man.
Yeah, and And then it just says like Belle's just like laying there
like like weeping in a ball,
yeah.
fetal position. Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah.
And Elzar gets like
rough
murked
stuff,
too. He literally gets like distracted or whatever, and like literally just his vector just plummets into the ground and like almost burns alive. I'm like,
yeah.
My emotions were so messed up that night. I couldn't hardly sleep.
Yeah.
Oh,
crazy stuff.
So
So what was your so in the first book, after you finished the book, I believe you said your favorite character was Elzar, right? That was kind of so. Now finishing this second book, where do you stand? Who's currently your favorite character?
So Indira Stokes. I'm just kidding. No. I'll be honest with you. It's still Elzar. It's still Elzar. You know, it's not that I don't like Stellan. Don't get me wrong. My mind is like I like Stellan. He could be one of my favorite characters, but for me personally, I just feel like there's just so much character development and character depth to Elzar that it's we see the struggle in him. He's trying to fight for the light, and I don't know. I just something about that just really connects with me. You know?
No, I see where you're coming from, and there is a lot of character development with Elzar and his battle, because where you find Stellan, he's kind of already
like grounded. You know?
Yeah, like he's already this character that most Jedi are like trying to become, right? Like he's already
right.
And you know, I've used Obi-Wan as an example. He's kind of an Obi-Wan character.
That's true.
In the way that he is very devout to the Order, and you know, it's the Order or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very much your typical like if you're gonna look at someone, point at them and say they're a hero, like Stellan's kind of the pick.
Which they even do it in the book, right? Where he becomes the image of the Jedi.
And that's such a powerful moment. And I love that moment where, you know, the Chancellor almost is killed, and there's just been this bomb and almost killed her.
Yeah.
And Stellan I think at this point Stellan doesn't even know if she's alive. I think
he said he thought she was dead.
He thinks he's failed, and because he was supposed to protect her. And so he just picks her up and he's on his knees and he's just bawling,
like literally crying.
And then all of the media and stuff are like capturing this, and it becomes the moment of this disaster.
Yeah.
And the weight that it puts on Stellan from there, because he does become the face of the Jedi at that point, and it does apply a lot of pressure that you'll see more of as you continue in your books. But Elzar is the best friend, in a sense that you know, doesn't always want to follow all the again, it's very much an Anakin
it is
kind of scenario we have with Elzar. I think his story is going to play out much different than what we've seen from Anakin, though.
Sure.
I personally, and I don't know this is just my own, like, I don't know yet, but I think Elzar is going to be a success story in comparison to what we ended up.
That's what I feel too. Like I feel like he's a little more grounded as he's older. He's a master already, you know. He's a Jedi Knight.
Not a master.
Yeah, never mind.
He's the one that's only a knight compared to.
Yeah, I forgot. Because in a lot of the Jedi they say he could have always been one, but he never wanted to be one. And
Avar and Stellan are both already masters.
Yeah,
and
I
he is not.
But anyway, the point is that he could have been. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's a little more grounded than Anakin is. Good.
I'm so sorry.
Lord, bro.
I just dropped my phone. So sorry. That was so loud. I apologize to all of our listeners.
This is not a professional podcast anymore. No wonder people don't want to subscribe to our Patreon. Daggone it.
So I think that he's gonna go through a lot of the same things that Anakin did, a lot of the same battles, and honestly, they're hinting at this relationship that him and Avar have had and still kind of have, and they're like
there's a taboo connection. They're both trying to fight, you know, specifically Avar, but you know. But
and I think that we're gonna continue to see that expand and see choices have to be made.
Yeah.
And I think where Anakin made the wrong choices, I think in the end we're gonna see Elzar make the right choices.
Yes, I just really have been drawn to his character. It's really intriguing to me, and I love to see this character development. and also too, there's a lot of stakes built into this character, and he's having these visions of destruction and all this, and so it's like it's just really tying him so close to the story, and that's personally why I like him so much. It's just, I don't know, I've enjoyed his character.
And are you going to read the comics, the High Republic comics?
At some point, yeah. Like I said, I know you said with the comics, you're probably not gonna want to read it until after you read the books, right?
Yeah, so I would read so now you could read up to the events of what's going on in the Rising Storm. You just don't want to read too far until you finish.
Yeah.
But again, I would go ahead and start reading some of them.
Yeah, gotcha.
Because that's where you're going to get your Avar Kriss story from now on.
Right.
Avar Kriss. Yeah. Avar Kriss is very heavily featured in the first novel, but in the next two, she is fully focused on in the comics. You're not going to get her.
Yeah.
You're going to get very small conversations, but that's it. You're not going to get much of anything.
Even or was it? Oh yeah, it was Rising Storm, but yeah, I mean they're talking about how like Tia Toon and stuff like that is like super angry, and a lot of people, well, not Tia Toon, but one of the Jedi Council members, in fact, is like mad because like, whoa, Avar is taking too many people to fight the Drengir, and maybe it wouldn't have been such an issue at Valo if otherwise, and then even further, we actually see. Oh, yeah, it's actually at the beginning of Fallen Star that even Stellan's kind of questioning a little bit because he's like,
have you started Fallen Star?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
A few chapters in.
Oh, all right.
I'm like, think of 30 pages in. Anyway, but we see even Stellan starting to question Avar to some degree because he's like, why is she taking so many people and going so foolhardy after the eye of this, the eye, of the Nile, and anyway,
and if you follow the comics, you will see. What she's doing, some of those choices she's making, and yeah, she's doing some questionable things. That's all I'll say.
Interesting. Well, so I'm very excited to dive into this book, Fallen Star. Like I said, I'm about 30 some pages into it right now, and yeah, I'm excited to keep going with it. So
yeah, and I'd say for sure when you finish that, I would definitely recommend catching up in the comics as well.
Yeah.
The rest of the stuff in the High Republic are, I would say, they definitely build on the characters and lore and stuff, but like they're not as necessary.
Sure.
I would say the main High Republic comic is necessary. I would say it's still very important to the overall story. And also, Trails, is it called Trails of Shadow, or I can't remember what it's called, but there's, I don't know, it's called something like that. It's one of the newer High Republic comics, but it has it's about one of the Jedis who is trying to solve the mystery of what happened to Loden Greystorm.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And that's a 5-issue comic book series.
Interesting. Yeah.
So that's also something that you'll probably want to read, but I would not read that until after you finish the Fallen Star. Probably.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah,
but so, I think we can go ahead and wrap it up here. I know we had talked about talking about some of the future things that are coming out, but we actually ended up talking about the High Republic for quite a while.
Right.
So I think that what we will do is we'll hold off on that, and we'll probably discuss that here in 2 weeks, unless something more pressing happens before then.
Very
like
true.
Maybe a Kenobi trailer. I would love that.
And we would take it,
And we would absolutely take it. But hey, we got to get one sooner or later, right?
If it's coming out in May,
we got to get one sooner or later.
Yeah, exactly.
But hey, we hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for joining us today. We would absolutely love for you to join our Patreon. For $5 a month, you get exclusive access to our brand new podcast series called And Other Stuff, where we talk about everything that is not Star Wars. Also, we you get instant access to anything that we post. That includes our Let's Plays. That includes our podcast. You do not have to wait until Saturday at 2:00.
Mm-hmm.
You get it instantly as when we upload, which is typically on a Thursday. So you get it a couple days early.
Yep.
Also, please, we would love for you to join our Facebook, join our Instagram. Facebook, you will find we post a lot of things there. That is where we post our community discussions. So make sure you're following us on there so you can join us. And thank you so much for today's community discussion. You guys came out in full force. Thank you all for commenting on that. We can't tell you how much that means to us when you guys interact with us.
Absolutely.
So make sure you do all of that. Again, share our Patreon with your friends and family. I know in my experience, I've had a lot of people come up to me personally and say, you know what, I wish I could support your podcast, but I just don't know anything about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Or I just don't really care about Star Wars. I want to listen to you guys, but I just don't know what you're talking about. Well, guess what?
Right.
We have and other stuff. And for that $5 a month, you get that monthly news series where we can come talking about who knows what. It could be anything. Typically, we each bring a new topic to discuss, and then also we have our main topic there, which is a lot of times going to be voted by you guys. You guys are going to decide on what that is and what we will discuss. So please think about joining that. But until next time, may the Force be with you, and we thank you for joining the Jedi Eternal.
We would be honored if you would join us.